giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We're streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still. Boom. See what it says down there, baby. The Cowboys are at the combine and they're having some conversations, so we shall have those same conversations. This is the most interesting part of the combine to me. It's not really what happens out there in the underwear Olympics. It's kind of behind the scenes things, little tea leaves that drop, not necessarily in front of the camera either, though. Yeah, we're not just talking about that. But we will discuss some of those tea leaves. We will discuss some of the things that are happening down there at the combine, the interest that the Cowboys are showing at a specific position or two early on. Now, granted, those are the positions that met yesterday at the podium, so there's that. However, it is 100% a need, and the Cowboys know that, and we'll see how they'll attack it, man. But we'll also have our guy, Patrick Nosey Walker. He's joining us today for the Scientific Method. We are back on Thursday, and he'll be talking to us about said combine, about one of his guys. I'll be asking him about one of his Georgia boys, and we'll have that discussion, man. So good one lined up for y'all. Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
What's happening? What's happening? Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the hoodie shots out here. I wore this on. It's not new. I mean, it's new-ish, I guess. I wore this, I think it was the game where the Cowboys played the Lions, maybe. I can't remember. Game Day Live, but I haven't worn it since. This weather here has been weird in the morning. Sometimes it's hot. I have my AC on sometimes. Sometimes it's cold. I have the heat on. It's weird. Texas is weird. But today I decided to bring it out before it gets too hot. And I really can't wear it. And I'm never blasting the heat or anything like that. So, yeah, it came from, I think, Fanatics. Love this hoodie. It is turned into one of my favorite hoodies. I don't wear it often, but it's a dope hoodie, though. Yeah, appreciate that. Let's get into this roundup because, you know, I didn't bring it up in the opening here, but I love this new NFLPA thing. I think it's kind of cool that they do this. But the Cowboys got a few categories that they have to get better at next year and beyond, and we'll discuss that as well. And Dan Quinn spoke the other day a little bit about the Cowboys, but he mentioned something in regards to Micah that is going to lead us into some of our discussion centered around none other than Stephen Jones. But I do want to talk about what he said as well, because I feel like he kind of gave us an answer that a lot of people kept asking, and I was kind of given said answer, but listening to Dan Quinn talk about it, maybe it'll shut the door on what happened here during his tenure. All right, let's get into it. Appreciate y'all.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Where's the roundup, Scott? It's right there. But I wanted to just start off right off the bat with this right here, man. The second annual NFLPA team report card was dropped yesterday. And this is what they had to say about the Dallas Cowboys, which I find this very interesting given this is the Cowboys. So let's read off, first of all, the grades, okay? Treatment of families, A. Food cafeteria, B. Ranks in the top 11. Nutritionist, dietitian, B. Locker room, we all know they got one of the best locker rooms in the world. Strength coaches, B. Head coach, A. We know they love the head coach. Ownership ranked 19th with a B. I found that interesting, and I bet that has a lot to do with Steven, but, you know. But the ones where they ranked low are inexcusable to me. C- in training room, which was 26th. D+ in training staff, which is 30th. And C- in team travel. Huh? This is what the NFLPA article had to say about this specific thing. The major issue in Dallas, based on the responses, is centered around the training room. The players feel like they are very understaffed in this department, and it is difficult to get the necessary preparation and treatment to perform at their best. Only 62% of the players feel like they get an adequate amount of one-on-one treatment time, which ranks 30th in the NFL. The other issue was mentioned was that the players feel the training room lacks basic equipment that you would expect to be standard in any other training facility. What? It's the Dallas Cowboys. You are worth how many billions of dollars? Your training room, staff, and facility should be the best in the world, Craig. But if y'all remember, when Cole Beasley left, Cole said, "Hey man, the Buffalo stuff over here is better for real." Paraphrasing, I'm not gonna put words in his mouth, but that's basically what he said. The Buffalo, and this was in Buffalo, and this is Buffalo we're talking about, y'all, was better than what he was dealing with here in Dallas. So for a team, and again, and JC Tretter, the president of the player NFLPA, he was like, "Hey, this isn't about talking about wins, loss, or anything. This is just about bringing awareness to where some teams need to be better from a working condition environment, and then highlighting where they are great, and we can learn from that across the league. And where the Cowboys lack are very surprising: training room, training staff, and travel for this particular team. That doesn't make any sense for me. Last year they were 5th, I think, overall. When you added everything up, obviously they've been knocked down a little bit this year. So we shall see what happens moving forward. You would hope they would hear this and they would listen to this, and they would staff their guys so their players can be attended to the way they need to be. You know? Now, I'm not in that training room. I don't know what's going on, but and training doesn't just stop at the facility. I know for a fact that these guys go home and they do the same things as well. But come on, Cowboys. Let's get it together a little bit, man. It's going to be a big combine day. We're going to be talking about some prospects. We're going to be talking about what's going on down there, listening to a few coaches, some GMs, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the coaches that spoke, obviously, is new head coach for the Washington Football People, our former defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn. And he was asked about Micah, and he was asked about some other things too. This is a particularly long-ish video I'm going to play here, roughly 2 minutes. But I do want to play it fully through because he talks about, exploring Micah's ability. Somebody asked him about the linebacker, defensive end thing, and he went on a very detailed explanation, and he dropped some things in there that if you listen, you can tell where this came from. And then we'll talk about what Steven said afterwards. But take a listen to Dan Quinn discussing Micah Parsons while he was here.
It was super important. One of the fun parts about Micah is he pushed me to think differently. And I think that's when you have a rare player of how do you find unique things about them and then try to feature those in that way. And I think he was probably the most rare that I was able to find. He could be off the ball, on the ball, rush over a guard, move over to a tackle. And so first and foremost, you have to be a really smart person to be able to play those kind of different positions, and he is. And then you have to have the competitiveness to say, I can go attack him and go attack him, because as you know, the better you get more attention. And so you have to then find ways to beat a chip and beat a double team and find unique ways to do that. So it was fun to go through that process with him. I'm super proud of him, of the trajectory that he's on. And I think, he's going to continue on in that way.
How tricky was it for you in terms of, like you said, he can do so much. You guys had a need at linebacker, but he's also a great pass rusher. How did you kind of work through all that?
I think finding it out, you had to explore it, you had to try it, because for him in Penn State, he wasn't as much defensive end as we utilized him into that space. So finding unique ways to do it, and when he answered it, more of that, and just putting a player like him in the spots they can do their thing. And that's what I enjoy most, on the coaching, is finding all these unique things that a player can do, and then how do you feature them on offense or defense or, in the return game. And so I look back even, for the guys who were in the Hall of Fame I'm super proud of some of the class for this year, whether it was Freeney or Hesterd, of guys who had these really unique traits and they could do that one thing better than anybody. And so for Dwight, he could set up a bull or a spin and the tackle didn't know which one. And for Devin, his ability to accelerate and cut and make somebody miss and break normal touchdown saving angles, those are things that they had unique stuff. And so as a coach, that's our job to try to find ways to do that. And those are examples of those guys found their superpower and were able to absolutely let it rip. And I enjoy that part of seeing that happen.
So he talks about finding that superpower and letting them rip, finding the unique things they do. Can they do that one thing better than anyone else? Our job as coaches is to find that and use that every time. And the conversation has come up a bunch of times, no matter what side of the fence you're on. Linebacker, defense end, linebacker with Micah Parsons. He looked at Micah as a guy that can rush the passer better than anybody and said, we're going to lean into it. And a lot of people question, well, why is Micah going to play linebacker? Well, Micah's not the damn coach. He's going to do what the coach asks him to do. And that's why he said, well, he can moonlight at linebacker, you rush the passer, but it's honing into that superpower. It is clear the coaches thought that was his superpower, and they're not necessarily wrong, because he formed into one of the best defensive ends in the National Football League, one of the best pass rushers in the National Football League. So I'm not coming at them for that. The issue is, on the other side of it, the linebacker spot, right? That, because you weren't able to play him at backer, you lacked at the linebacker spot, which is your fault because you didn't address it, and you relied on an injury-prone guy, and then you moved a guy out of position to do that. And I kept coming on here saying, well, look, these guys are worried about moving him back there because they don't have a rush without him. And the numbers in the film and everything statistically backs that up. But the problem is the guys above Dan Quinn believe that, hey, man, we thought Michael was going to play a little bit more linebacker. And that guy I'm talking about is none other than the capo himself of Capafella Records, Stephen Jones. So Stephen Jones was asked about the linebacker situation and just a bunch of stuff down there. We're going to get into that. We're going to morph our way into this conversation here about Stephen Jones. Not about Stephen Jones, but about what's going on down at the Combine. He was asked about the linebacker spot and knowing that it's a deficiency, some of the things they have to address, offense, defense. And then he brought up Micah, and I thought this was very interesting. So let's go ahead and take a listen real quick. One time for the one time, y'all.
We certainly have obvious needs, on both defense and offense that we'll need to look at with guys who are going to be free agents. Obviously, Tyron and Badaz, and, you got guys who are.
First of all, how diabolical is it that this guy been on your team for 4 years and you still can't say his name right? Badaz? Damn, Steve.
We're going to be free on that side. Obviously, the linebacking situation, we got a little thin there. What Mike's vision is for Micah. Is he a true, pass rusher most of the time, or has got some, last year he ended up, that's pretty much what he did. And I think, very effective, but I think it hurt us with our linebacker depth because we were thinking, he was going to do more linebacking. But, I think between the linebacker situation and, obviously we're still work in progress on getting better against the run.
And we're gonna pick that up there too. But it's clear they are trying to attack said position, not just based off of what he said, right? But they thought, or at least he did, or whomever else, probably Jerry. But again, I think Jerry's just a bit of aloof. But that Micah was going to play some more linebacker and that they're going to attack this linebacker position. In fact, they've met with a handful of backers already, and I'd expect them to meet with more, not just at the Combine, but once you start getting to the 30 days and all this other stuff. So I wanted to take a look with y'all at the Cowboys formal meetings so far, and you'll see some of the top linebackers in the class have already met with them. Real quick, just a quick rundown on the formal meetings. You get 45 of these things down here at the Combine. These are 8. And just by these 8, now granted, again, these are this is the group of players that will be actually doing on-field things today. So they met with them at the podium and whatnot. These are the players that the Cowboys have formally met with, which holds a lot more weight than informally, because informally could just mean I just walked by you, said, what's up? How's it going? Great workout. See ya. Boom. Hey, so-and-so talk to so-and-so. These ones here, they schedule it. They sit down. They have the meeting, probably do some boards, ask them legitimate questions. So when you see Edgerrin Cooper up there, Junior Colson, T'Vondre Sweat up there, you know these guys are taking, well, you would hope, but they are taking this position seriously. This could also technically mean keep your eye on it for free agency as well. And we talked about a bunch of guys in free agency. But you're likely going to see them in the top 100 picks take a backer and potentially take a defensive tackle. And I know you see the Michigan names up there, people get up in arms. I hear you. I get it. Whatever. But the Cowboys do need some help there. They do need to get bigger there. Right now, currently, as we speak, right? No Hankins on the team, no Neville Gallimore on the team. You got Osa, Mazi, and Golston, who moonlights there as well, plays some, right? So you got some lighter dudes, no pun intended on the Mazi thing. I feel like he'll get the weight back on, but you don't really have, even if you get a normal 3 tech that's 305-ish, that's much bigger than what you currently have on the roster. So they're looking at some of these dudes. And clearly, T'Vondre Sweat's not the 3 tech that I was just mentioned, but he is a big dude. And a lot of people believe, well, the Cowboys aren't going to go back-to-back, taking a big dude. Well, I don't know. I don't know, because Mike Zimmer really, truly do believes now. We talked about the Fat Boys, right? So getting back to Stephen Jones, again, he talked about stopping the run and running the ball, and I want to kind of parlay that into this defensive tackle position. But I want you to take a listen to Stephen Jones speaking on stopping the run and running the rock.
I think that's a very fair statement, that we can be more physical and need more size at that position. I think Mike Zimmer, when he talks, I'm sure he's going to echo those thoughts too. He wants more size there and physicality there. And I think Bell was outstanding, but he is, he was a safety when he started the season. So, and then, in general, that was our scheme, more of a 3 safety, 2 linebacker scheme than we were a 3 linebacker, 2 safety scheme. So, I think those are all things that, Mike's going to get in there and we're going to look at, and we'll come up with a good solution that we think will make us better against the run. Obviously running the football and stopping the run are at the top of our list this offseason.
And like I said, when you go back and you look at the graph here, I don't listen. It's hard to trust anything they say in general, but it's really hard not to believe that getting a linebacker and a defensive tackle that's going to help you stop the run is a lie. I would be shocked. They just don't have the bodies. So they have to get the bodies in general, but they have to get bigger and better, both. At both spots, linebacker and defensive tackle. That's just, you just physically don't have it. And then you literally don't have the body. So I do believe that this will be a priority, and you can kind of see it already working its way down at the Combine. Now, obviously, another dude that's going to help you do that is Mazi Smith. And Steven talked about Mazi Smith yesterday when he was asked about his potential in his year 2 jump.
Yeah, we have nothing but confidence in Mazi. I think it was a transition for him that he was trying to get his hands around, the technique and the way he played in Michigan versus what, Dan was trying to incorporate in his game. So I think Mazi can take a big jump in terms of this second year with him. got all the right skill sets, got all the right intangibles to go out there and get the job done. And we believe he's going to make a big jump here in the second year.
So I found this tweet before we head over to talk to Pat real quick that I want to bring up. It's not necessarily a tweet. It's more of a excerpt from an old article. Shouts out to my guy John Only for pointing this out, because he believes in Zimmer's role, or in Zimmer's scheme, Mazi actually fits it better. Now, here's what we know about Mazi Smith, right? He was brought in here, we thought, to be that nose tackle, big guy, stop the run, more of a two-gapping situation, but they asked him to, not do that. They wanted him they wanted to hone in more on his pass rushing and get upfield, et cetera, et cetera. This is an excerpt from years ago, talking about Linval Joseph moving on from the Giants to the Vikings. I'm going to skip the first part a little bit and go down to the second part, because this is very interesting. So the first part is actually says the player will contain on plays that are likely to be runs or tip-off runs, and he's talking about the Viking scheme, taking Brian Robinson's spot, a guy who played in Minnesota under Mike Zimmer. And it says, which means they'll ease up on attacking the edge and instead control the player in front of them in the gap they are assigned so that they don't overshoot a runner and can tackle them at or behind the line of scrimmage. This kind of play was difficult for Linval Joseph to learn upon coming to Minnesota from New York, because in New York, the nose tackles, opposite from the technique Zimmer preaches, they ask you to penetrate the gaps and get upfield. So they talked about a play, and then Linval Joseph, who ended up being a fantastic defensive tackle for Mike Zimmer, said this: if I stayed on the center, I would have been there, and when the running back cut back, I needed to make a wall and let the linebackers run around and make plays. And then he says, since then, Joseph has blossomed into the league's best one tech, and his ability to hold blockers has become a critical part of the scheme, as Will Forks had been for New England's. So I wanted to bring that up because you hear Mazi, and obviously he did not have a great season, right? It was not a good rookie year. But I do think, granted, if he puts the weight back on, I have no idea what's going on with that. If Mazi gets back up to Mazi weight, I do think in this scheme, which relies much more on these guys helping the other guys as opposed to penetrating, getting upfield, etc., I do think this will help him more. That doesn't mean I'm stopping myself from drafting more bodies or potentially adding more bodies. I just think this scheme in general is going to have a positive effect on the front seven, especially for a guy that came in here 330 plus, and you hope gets back to that, but we shall see about that. Let's go ahead and hit the scientific method with our guy, Patrick Nosey Walker from DallasCowboys.com. What's good with you, Pat?
We're talking on a Thursday, man. This feels weird.
Yeah, man. It's not the normal.
I'll allow it. I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Trying to break down some of these things that we've been hearing and seeing down there at the Combine. But good to have you back on this Thursday.
Hey, man. It's always fun, man. And you're not trying to break it down. I'm hearing you. You're breaking it down.
My
right?
God.
You got to adjust your vernacular, right? We don't try to do anything.
There you go.
There is only do or do not.
This is why I passed my guy, man. Speaks that life into me. Appreciate you, big dog. So we were just talking, actually, about some of the formal meetings that the Cowboys are having down there, which I'm a little mad you ain't down there, Pat, because I know you be asking some good questions. So
yeah,
maybe next year.
And just for clarity, a little bit of a personal issue that kind of held me back at the last minute, because I was scheduled to go as I annually do, but a couple of days before the trip, family thing.
Yeah.
It's something that I needed to be here to manage. So, absolutely wish I was out there, but at the same time, home duties are home duties. So got to do what I got to do. However, I still have my people on the ground, Nicole Hutchinson, Nick Harris, doing great work out there. I'm in constant communication with them. I'm sending them, I know I'm getting on their nerves. I'm sending them some things early, 5, 6 a.m. like, hey, can you check out, can you ask this prospect this? Can you ask this prospect this? So they're definitely helping me out, getting me the intel I need so that I can feed Cowboys Nation what they need. Yeah,
they're doing a fantastic job. If you go look at the reporting and how we're getting the formal meetings, it's coming from Nick and Nicole. So shouts out to them.
Yeah,
and
kill it.
I wanted to ask you about these formal meetings, because it's clear the Cowboys want to get bigger and stronger, right? That's the center point probably of this entire offseason. And they've met with 8 players formally. And I want to know from you, of those players so far, who are you most intrigued with?
Well, first of all, it has to start with these Texas guys. And when I say Texas guys, I'm also talking about the Aggie as well. So Edgerrin Cooper at linebacker, he's one that really piques my attention as well. He should pique everyone's attention. And then the other elephant in the room, no pun intended, T'Vondre Sweat, big boy.
Big boy, yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at the first round of formal meetings that the Cowboys had coming out of that first defensive front group on yesterday, it's clear that they're focusing in on linebackers and interior defensive linemen, and that is chef kiss, because that is exactly what they need to be focusing on. You know, they didn't have any, not that have come out just yet. I'm sure it'll kind of trickle out over the next couple of days, but as of yesterday, there weren't any formal defensive end meetings, and, you know, that's fine because look at where they are in defensive end. But you definitely have to address that linebacker and interior defensive line situation. And Edgerrin Cooper, I mean, he just jumps off the tape. I mean, absolutely jumps off the tape. Another guy, Tyron Hopper out of Missouri, I think he's very underrated. I understand that, you know, not a lot of people kind of pay attention to the University of Missouri. Yes, it's an SEC school, but they're not one of the upper echelon SEC teams. But as an SEC guy, go Dogs. We'll get to that in a moment because I know what you sent me on the rundown. I've been able to watch Missouri, that program, over the past couple seasons, every season as a matter of fact. And I've seen what Tyron Hopper has done, and I think he's one of the more underrated linebackers out there. But Edgerrin Cooper, T'Vondre Sweat, I'm just having these wonderful and McKinley Jackson, he's another one. He's an Aggie. These Texas and Texas A&M guys, they're really popping coming into this draft. But when you look at guys like that, you just know that there's immediate impact. I don't look at a guy like Cooper or Sweat or Jackson or even Hopper for that matter and find myself worried that they, you know, won't necessarily hit the ground running. I'll grant them the rookie curve, absolutely, which could be a 2-year process. But these guys look more prepackaged and ready to go.
That's crazy that you say that, because this next question I want to ask you about, well, it's not even really a question, kind of my statement and your thoughts, kind of centers around guys that can come in here and hit the ground running, because a report came out last night that, you know, the Cowboys' new hires are signed only a 1-year deal to go along with their head coach. And for me, Pat, I feel like that makes this scouting process a little bit tricky, because we know when you're doing drafts, it's a long-term investment, but you don't really have that same long-term investment with these coaches. So that has to make this process difficult in the sense of, me personally, I don't know how you can draft a guy early with premium picks that you say, yeah, we'll give it a couple years. You almost need these guys to come and hit the ground running now, right?
Oh, yeah, you absolutely do. And I did see the report. Shouts out to Michael Gilkin. I will say this. That's not necessarily news on our end, because I know that might have been 2 weeks ago, 2 Cowboys breaks ago, the podcast, where Derek asked me if I had gotten information on how long Zimmer is in the building. I said, hey, I'm here in 1 year.
Okay.
So it tracks that, you know, based on what Gilkin was saying yesterday, it tracks that the other new faces coming into the building, they're only on 1 year as well, because they're tied to the Zimmer administration on the defensive side of the ball. And then, of course, we already know the status of Mike McCarthy. He's on a prove-it deal. Dak Prescott absent an extension, which they're still in the works there. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear on that. Though it's not promised, that's a true statement by Michael Gilkin. It's also true that they're actively working toward it. So it is also equally possible that it happens. But absent a deal on Dak Prescott, he goes into a prove-it season. So that all circles to your original point, which is a fantastic one. This is part of the definition of being all in for the Cowboys, wherein, you know, not only do you have these coaches and potentially your starting quarterback on a contract year, you don't have the luxury when you're looking at these prospects and meeting with these prospects and going into the NFL draft of looking at one and saying, you know what, I think we'll do our usual second round dice roll on a guy who might pan out in year 3. Okay, well, this coaching staff that's doing these interviews, they might not have year 3. So I get it from a scouting standpoint. From a scouting standpoint, you know, you have that luxury, so to speak, right? Will McClay, thankfully, isn't going anywhere. His staff isn't going anywhere. But if you're Mike McCarthy, you're Mike Zimmer, you're the coaches, you now sit at the table with the scouts and you say, hey, I can respect that you guys have contracts beyond 2024. However, we do not, so we need this guy because this guy is prepackaged and ready to go right now. So very interesting dialogue that I'm sure is an active one between the scouting department and the coaches. But one thing I've come to learn when it comes to Will McClay, he is hand in hand with his coaches. So if McCarthy and Zimmer are coming to him saying we need guys ready to go right now, I can 100% guarantee you Will McClay is on board with that.
See, that just takes me back to last week. If it was me, man, I'd just go ahead and just trade these picks. I'm just saying. But we ain't going to talk to Pat about that. That's just Skywalker still talking about trading some of these picks, not Patrick No-C Walker. That's all I'm saying, Pat.
Yeah, there you go. Good disclosure. Yeah. Because I got some ideas for some
No,
folks
we can
that I
talk.
would
We can talk off
for.
air.
However,
off air about that.
Yeah. However, I can't officially put that. Because again, it's one thing for me to say I want to send some of these picks away for some folks, but it's another thing for me to be the reason the Cowboys get picks taken and then don't get any folks in exchange. So, I got to play it how I got to play. Yeah.
Oh, man. This next one. So I don't normally do this, but I decided to do this because this is a Georgia boy, okay? Mel Kiper, who puts out his mock drafts. If I was like full-fledged draft content guy, I would react to all these mock drafts because that's great content. But this guy in particular that Mel Kiper decided to say that, the Cowboys will be taking is a Georgia boy, offensive tackle, Amarius Mims. Been talking a lot about him with Vach, 6'7", 330-pound, athletic but inexperienced tackle. And you had a very funny response to this, but I do want to get your thoughts on your boy because that's your squad, that's where you're from. Or, your school, and you probably know all these Georgia cats better than most people. So, Amarius Mims, Cowboys select the offensive tackle from Georgia. What are your thoughts if that happens?
All right. So, anyone who has followed me for any respectable length of time knows that, yes, I am a Georgia alum, and I'm all in on my Georgia boys. But once they hit the draft pool, the objectivity comes in 100%. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at my takes on Khalid Ringo last year and this time last year, and you'll see that I absolutely did not want him in Dallas. So once they leave Athens, I love you, but now we got to talk straight. Mims, absolute animal, 6'7", 340 pounds. Anchor is fantastic. Hands, powerful. He's a bully in a phone booth, 100%. Bully in a phone booth. He gets the job done. My concerns on Mims would be, what does he look like coming off of that tightrope surgery on his ankle? Not necessarily a major issue, but, something to keep an eye on. A slight red flag. I'd say a pink flag, not necessarily a red flag, but the bigger red flag is that he lacks the experience that some of the other prospects have. Now, when you talk about what we just spoke about, still, in that you're Mike McCarthy, you need a guy to be able to come in and possibly impact the game quickly because, yes, I'm on record as wanting Tyron Smith back on this team for 2024. Absolutely. But we also know that Tyron Smith, you have to plan for him to miss upwards of half the season. If that were to happen and the Cowboys continue to remain hell-bent on keeping Tyron Smith at left guard as they were in 2023, then you would love to believe that a guy, whoever you pick, with a premium pick, because you're talking first round pick now.
Yeah.
This is a first round pick, okay? If you're going to use a first round pick on a guy, you have to know that he has the ability to do what Tyler Smith did in 2022, and that, you could put him right there at left tackle in the, break glass in case of emergency type situation, and he's going to be able to perform. I believe that Mims could possibly do that, but I believe that there are other experienced guys, prospects in the draft that you could also take in the first round that will be in the bottom of the first round, maybe like a J.C. Latham, for example. Similar build, a little bit heavier, 6'6", 360, a couple inches taller, more experienced, more decorated as far as his football pedigree is concerned. That would give me more confidence. And, folks, if you're questioning the objectivity, I just gave you an Alabama guy. Right? Just gave you an Alabama guy over my Georgia guy. So, I would have them neck and neck, but my edge will go to a guy like Latham because my main concern, I should say, with Mims, I believe that he'll be great, fantastic at the NFL level. I don't know that he'll hit the ground running, although I think a guy like Latham or some of these other top OT prospects could possibly hit the ground running if you lose Tyron Smith in like week 3 or week 7 or something like that. Those other guys could probably come in and do more work more quickly than can Mims. I think Mims is more of like a 2025 guy if he were to be brought with the Cowboys. But also, let me say this, and I'll throw it back to you. You alluded to what I said in the text when you told me you were going to ask me this question. So let me put it out there. Cowboys don't draft or sign former Georgia players. I hate that. I hate to say it. I hate it. So reality, it turns my stomach. I just can't understand why Jerry won't get past the Quincy Carter days. He is traumatized, and he won't let it go. I would love for him to finally prove me wrong. But, folks, if he hasn't taken a Georgia guy out of these past 2 or 3 drafts, then I just don't see it happening randomly now. I don't. I love it, but I just don't see it.
It feels like when I hear tackle, because I'm all for taking a tackle of the future, but it's so early right now because we don't know what's going on with Tyron Smith, right? Free agency. But it feels like in this scenario, you're basically saying, "Oh, have Tyron Smith." So essentially, they're not going to the grocery store and they're shopping with the munchies, because that's how I look at this thing here. If they don't have Tyron Smith, you're going into the draft with the munchies, and you're just like, I gotta take this because I'm hungry for this position.
Right.
If they have Tyron Smith, then I feel like they can go into the draft and say, okay, yes, we need to take an offensive tackle at some point, I think in the top 3 rounds. But we're not as hungry to take one immediately if there's another position that can come in here and play, because this is what's so tricky about it. Tyron going to get hurt. It's just going to happen. He's going to miss 3 to 4 games. You would hope it's just 3 to 4 games, right? So you have to factor that in when you're looking at this position. The Cowboys have to eventually take this position seriously for the future. But if they don't bring him back, you're basically cornering yourself into having to take this position, if not in round 1, at the very least round 2. I can't see him not taking it.
Exactly as the plan should be. The plan should be to get Tyron Smith back in this building in 2024, and that is the plan. Stephen Jones said it himself. He said that's the plan. They're already sitting down with Big 7-7, and they're trying to work out the numbers to get him, still here in Dallas for 2024. You do that, that allows you to go into the draft and say, hey, let's see how the board falls. If the perfect OT is there for our LT1 situation going forward for the future, fine, we'll take that 100% of the time. However, if things look a little shaky at that particular position, guess what? Maybe you still need to address the center position. So maybe then it allows you to go, do something else, a linebacker, for example. So that has to be the plan. Thankfully, it is the plan. And I mean, as we have this conversation, obviously anything can happen one way or another, but I think it's trending toward Tyron staying. He wants to stay. He's taken, team-friendly deals in the past to stick around. He's still playing at a high level, which is why the Cowboys certainly want to keep him there. He becomes that definite bridge for this season moving into 2025. So then what you do, you double up in the draft. You get you a future LT1, because without Tyron, not only are you going into the draft with the munchies, like you said, but that puts you in a situation where you're in dire straits now at left tackle. Because, again, if you're as hell-bent as I think you are on keeping Tyler Smith at left guard, then what do you have at left tackle, right? That means you wouldn't have Tyron Smith, and we're talking pre-draft. You wouldn't have Tyron Smith, and the Chuma Edoga experiment is over, thankfully. That did not work. Matt Waletzko, his shoulders won't play nice with him. Asim Richards, we don't know where he is in his development, but we do know he couldn't earn a single snap last season as a rookie, despite the carousel of injury that the Cowboys had on the offensive line. So that's a bit disheartening. We'll see what year 2 holds for the former Tar Heel. But I mean, you're then in dire straits. So first things first, get Tyron back in this building, or keep him in this building, I should say, for 2024, and then go double up. But at least you know that you can play the board versus going in being desperate and saying, you know what, it doesn't matter who falls. It doesn't matter what the BPA situation is. We got to take the offensive tackle, because more often than not, that just doesn't work.
And there you have it, our guy Patrick No-C Walker. Hey, next week, I might be in the nosebleeds, but I'm going to see you there, right?
Absolutely. It's WWE, SmackDown, American Airlines Arena. I'm in the building. Steele's in the building. I know a lot of our readers and listeners are in the building. The Rock is in the building.
I got to
Roman's in the building. Cody's in the building. Oh, man.
I got to go.
Turn me up. Let's bring it. Let's go. Hey, I love Cody to death. I really do. But I was raised in the Attitude Era, with like Stone Colds of the world and DXs and The Rock. So when I tell you I got to side with Dwayne, I got to side with Dwayne. So Cody Crybaby, come on.
Cody Crybaby. He's one of the few I haven't seen live in regards to The Rock. So once I found out he was constant, I have to go. Like I have to be able to experience that song, that theme hitting, The Rock coming out here, the chills. I have to. I've seen Triple H, Undertaker, Stone Cold. I see Brand. I've seen them. Everybody but The Rock somehow. So I'm definitely there.
You got to get The Rock. Yeah, we're gonna turn up. We're gonna be there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you got the tickets, come find us, come link, come join us. But until then, go and, I'm talking to the Cowboys now. Until then, get ready for free agency. We want to see some whales.
Facts. We
want to see. You said you're all in. I'm calling your bluff. I'm in the building calling your bluff. So what you gonna do? Come with it.
They're gonna call you with 7 deuces. What they're gonna do and lose our aces. But I appreciate you, Pat. Love you, big dog.
They don't know about that, bro. Full Trey. I'm out.
Shout out to Patrick O.C. Walker, DallasCowboys.com. Another great edition of the Scientific Method, y'all. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break and get back into some of these nuggets coming out of the Combine. And almost just like a perfect segue. He talked about Tyler Smith. That's exactly who we're going to talk about after this break. Promise you.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
in front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
Anybody in the chat gonna be at SmackDown next Friday? Anybody? Bueller. Road to WrestleMania, there are usually some good go-home shows. Now, this isn't a go-home show. I actually went to a go-home show. If you don't know what that means, it's the last TV broadcast show. So I went to a Raw go-home show before WrestleMania. It was crazy. It was, I think Undertaker did one of his old come from under the ring things. Triple H, got the chance to see him come out. I've seen Triple H a bunch of times, though. But this should be a fun one. This isn't a go-home show. We have a long ways to go. But just to see The Rock at SmackDown, the show he's responsible for, got to do it. It is on the bucket list, as Pat said, as a Attitude Era fan, right? Now, I like the Superstar. I think it was called the Superstar. Somebody correct me. I did like that one before, but the Attitude Era to me is the golden era. Old heads will say the 80s. Technically, I think that's what it's called. For me, it's the Attitude Era, man. All right, let's get back into this thing. And again, we talked about Tyron Smith. We talked about Armarius Mims, if he was a potential pick. I do think Tyler Smith will have something to say about that. And this is why. I've been talking about Tyler Smith, and going into these drafts saying, well, they technically can use his talents to their advantage if they want. Now, that means he'd be bouncing back and forth, but the flex that he has kind of gives them flex. But at some point, you got to say, hey, this is what you are, so you know what you need to do moving forward. But this is Stephen Jones talking about Tyler Smith and left tackle, left guard. We don't know.
Would you prefer to keep Tyler Smith at left guard?
That's remains to be seen. I mean, it's starting to feel like Larry Allen all over again. I mean, the great thing about Tyler is his versatility. He could be a great left tackle too. I mean, Larry Allen, I think, played either 1 or 1.5 or 2 years at left tackle. I think he made All Pro those years too. So he can. Tyler's got that in him, and I think at the end of the day, when we're all through massaging it, we'll have a good spot for him. And the great news is we have Tyler Smith, and his versatility certainly brings options to the table in terms of how we look at this team as we move forward.
Man, he emphasized that certainly. And again, that's just something that, I've been talking about the last 2 years, especially, this is the first year he played guard a full season and all pro, right? Rookie season, in my opinion, I thought he held it down at left tackle. And I still do believe if he's a tackle, I think he can be fantastic tackle too. That's just how good he is. But I do wonder. I don't think there's enough there to dive in. I do know, I think last year he was kind of adamant, oh, no, this is our left tackle of the future. So if you kind of want to add these two up, last year he was saying left tackle of the future. This year he's saying, decision is not made yet. So maybe they could just keep him at guard. But I'll ask y'all, because y'all know where I stand on this. I think the dude can be fantastic anywhere, but he is an all-pro at guard. So if they keep him there, you ain't going to see me getting upset. Where would you like to see Tyler Smith for his career? And again, I'm not a fan of Stephen Jones, but the Larry Allen comp is very real in the sense of, Larry Allen played left guard or played guard and tackle and was amazing at both. Eventually settled in at guard, though. Where would y'all like to see him at? Would you like to see him at tackle, which is technically the more valuable position, they say, or would you like to see him stay at guard, where he's been an all-pro? Guard. A lot of guards. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, hey, man, you an all-pro, we're going to move you. It probably be best in their situation to keep him there. The thing is, like Steven said, the flex kind of gives them that ability. Now, they have to address this thing in the offseason, though, and before the draft, because you still have two positions, tackle and center. And even if you say, oh, we're going to move Tyler to tackle. Well, now you got guard and center. We can say, oh, well, TJ Bass. That's fair. You can say TJ Bass can go in there. Now it's just center. So it is some things you can play with, but I don't think they want to play around too long. I think you got to figure this thing out sooner rather than later. Getting some tackle mixed up in there. Draft Tyron's replacement. I do think you have to stop playing around with that. Weird thing is, though, Tyler Smith was supposed to be Tyron Smith's replacement. Guard unless Tyron goes after the fourth game. So who's you draft Armarius Mims, then that's the guy they're probably gonna put in. Whoever that tackle is, they draft early. And when I say early, I mean probably first or second round. But man, this is why I think they dropped the ball in two positions. And maybe they did, depending on what they do with Tyler. You did not draft your tackle replacement unless it was going to be Tyler, but you didn't put him out there at any given moment. And you could have jumped the gun on center as well. I don't know how you don't see that. Like you weren't going to sign Tyler Biadasz, and you didn't elect to take the center position at any point. I mean, I would have took a center over. I would have been Awesome and the kid from was it UTEP or San Jose State, the defense. I would have tried to grab a center and get him going there. So now you're kind of in this hole now. No matter if you move Tyler or not, you're going to need two offensive linemen as we stand now. And then the other part is, we signed Tyron. If you're going to sign Tyron and say we're going to rely on Tyron, then damn it, you better spend a little bit more money on a swing tackle. And not because if you're not going to take one in the draft, his replacement, you're going to need a swing tackle, a real one, not Chuma, who was a guard. So I got trust issues when it comes to how they attack this position. I don't have trust issues in them drafting the position. I told you, if they take a lineman in the first round or second round, I ain't saying nothing in regards of being mad or upset. Because 9 times out of 10, and for real, 10 out of 10, if you go and look at Tyron, Tyler, Travis Frederick, and Zach Martin, them dudes is 4 for 4. I ain't got shit to say if they take an offensive lineman in the first or second round because they're normally going to hit. But if they don't take one in the first or second round and they rely on Tyron Smith, I will have a problem in regards to who's the swing guy. Who's my swing guy? Because you're going to need it. All right, let's move to the next part. This part, not comedy. I don't never want to say somebody losing their job is comedy. But I want y'all to listen to Stephen Jones talk about the wide receiver position. They brought up the wide receiver position. That, Michael Gallup's name came up. And if Stephen Jones played poker, y'all, because I play poker, I'd clean Stephen Jones out. Dude has no poker face. He tells you everything you need to know without telling you. Listen to this real quick. I just want to hear your thoughts on what Stephen Jones had to say.
How do you look at the wide receiver position behind CD with Gallup and the year that he had, and then Cooks, and how does it fill out?
Like I said, we're not going to get into the details of where we're going to go. We feel good about that position, though. Thought Tolbert had a real breakout year in terms of what he did for us. Certainly Brooks did a lot of good things. We had him active, and I know Dak was comfortable with him as a receiver. And so, feel good about that position. Obviously, Cooks is just like Stephon. He not only was a great player and good for us on the field, but what he brought off the field, his leadership, his veteran leadership was undeniable, and thought he was outstanding. And then you certainly had CD, so it's a good group.
Say Tolbert, Brooks, CD, Cooks. Where the hell is Gallup? He gone. He gone. If he played poker, you'd easily be able to read Stephen Jones. Okay? This is why y'all remember a couple years ago they asked him about Amari Cooper. And you can hear him beat around it. And if you really read between the lines there, you knew, oh, Amari gone. Somehow, some way he gone. He didn't even bring up Gallup's money or nothing. He just shut that. Hey, I told y'all we're not about to talk about. But let me tell you, though, about CD Lamb. Let me tell you about Brandon Cooks. Let me tell you about Brooks. Brooks is the 5th and 6th receiver. Let me tell you about Jalen Tolbert. Steve, what about Michael? Hey. Y'all know how me invite. Hey. Enough with the Michael Gallup shit. Stephen Jones flat out ignored that man. He gone, y'all. Michael Gallup is gone. Somebody said, you better learn Chinese, buddy. We talked about the cap implications of Michael Gallup. No way, no how you're bringing back Michael Gallup on a $14 million cap hit. Not that guy. The Chiefs just cut MVS, who has 2 rings, by the way. Drop everything in the regular season, gets to the postseason, catch everything. Just cut him, save $12 million. You think that Michael Gallup is staying on this team for 14? Nah, it's not happening. But Stephen Jones all but just told you that. He gone. What else Stephen got to say here? Now, as y'all notice, I'm not really bringing up the whole all-in stuff. That's listen, man. For what? For who? For what? We know the situation with this whole all-in thing. I thought some of these other things were more interesting. However, you can't have a Stephen Jones soundbite segment without Stephen Jones talking about the cap.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
It's always a challenge when you start to have a lot of players that you're trying to pay, top of the market. It's a challenge, but the cap has gone up tremendously. So it's, to me, it's not a lot different. It's just, how many guys you're trying to fit in there. And to me, it's it's about players. We had a situation last year where you end up losing a guy, but you end up getting 4 players rather than what you might have paid 1 player. And, that's the way you have to look at it. Would you rather have 3 or 4 players for $3 and $4 and $5 million apiece, or 1 player for $20 million? So those are the things you get into weighing in terms of where you're better off. And
really, dude? That's what we doing. Not a surprise, though, right? How many other general managers are saying that? Oh, he's a general manager. I'm done calling him anything other than that. He's the general manager. Call him the Capo of Capofeller Records. The Don, whatever the hell you want to call him. He's that for this team. Would you rather have 3 or 4 players at Dollar General or go grab the valuable thing at Louis Vuitton? Oh, Stephen. Sometimes that's fine. All the time, though? Nah, man. Not all the time. But man, you can't go off season without hearing something like that from Steven. So I thought that'd be interesting. But all right, one more from Catboy, and it's about the whole culture thing, right? That's the big buzzword. Is there a culture problem in Dallas? Now, first of all, I don't know why you would even ask the problem. What do you think he's gonna say? But this is what Steven said, though.
The culture.
Yes. I don't know if you guys addressed that or you talked about that. If that was a problem, that maybe ever come up reason why y'all lost, but I don't know if has that come up and you worry about the culture on the team entitlement or anything like that?
I think from the organization on down, we feel good about our culture. You always want to be better. I will say that. I mean, if you're not, if your results aren't winning the Super Bowl, I think everybody's saying, how do you ultimately be the last guy standing? But I think overall, between, organizationally, between, our coach, our personnel department, I think our leadership on our team's outstanding. So, you're always going to have somebody who's, going to say something, that's not, that might be, hey, that's their particular thought process on why we may have come up short, but I don't think in general, personally, I don't think it's an issue.
Should I get him? Should I get him?
So I want y'all to listen to this general manager. It's so fitting. I retweeted this on the Twitter because we talk about this a lot on this channel. Again, first of all, you're asking what are the main culprits of the culture problem. Is there a culture problem? What do you think he's going to say? And let me tell you why he's going to say that. Listen to Brandon Beane, general manager of the Bills. I just want you to listen to not just what he says, but also kind of just you can kind of feel him literally what he's saying. Take a listen.
I mean, we got criticized a little bit for how much we gave up for Josh. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here anyway. And if he does work out, nobody's going to give a shit.
Wasn't long. Wasn't a lot. You might have missed it. You might have went to the bathroom real quick. You might have, hey, let me put my earphones out. But listen.
I mean, we got criticized a little bit for how much we gave up for Josh. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here anyway. And if he does work out, nobody's going to give a shit.
I'm not going to be here anyway if it don't work out. That is not the problem here in Dallas. That ain't the button. That's the button. That is not the problem here in Dallas for Stephen Jones. He's not worried about losing his job. I love what Brandon Beane said. If it doesn't work out, I ain't going to be here. So I might as well take this risk. If it does work out, nobody will give a shit. I love it. Now, that's not to say that Buffalo has been doing all these crazy things. But here and there, you got to take, hey, I'm going to trade up to get my guy. Hey, I'm going to trade to go get Stephon Diggs. Hey, I'm going to go sign Avon. Did it work out? No, it didn't work out. But it's knowing, if I'm a fan, that, hey, my general manager is going to take those risks. And knowing that if he doesn't and he fails, his job is on the line and get fired. So I know that heat that he's feeling, it never goes away. There's no heat. There's no heat in Dallas. What heat? I just played a whole bunch of clips, right? Stephen Jones, if you get a chance, go back and watch the whole thing. Just look at him. And again, I'm not a body language expert, but when those general managers go to the podium, go watch a few of them. Joe Douglas is another one that's up there. His feet's to the fire too. Brandon Beane, just Howie Roseman, all these guys go. There isn't this sense of security. Almost any year, I don't care if they just won the Super Bowl, there is not a sense of security. Steven is like, Jimmy. Yeah, good with Jimmy. We just kicking it on a yacht. But what about the culture problem? Culture? Good here. No problems, man. Well, what about this cap situation, right, Steven? We got you got to pay these 3 guys. You got Dak. You got You want to get those things done? Nah, we don't. We're good. No sense of urgency here. We'll get to it when we get to it. We can move money around. But let me say this though. Oh, we got cap problems. It's challenging. Meanwhile, you see other teams. But these cap problems. So sometimes, when I hear the people down there asking these rhetorical ass questions or silly questions per se, ask Stephen Jones about the culture problem. You know who I'd rather ask? Probably wouldn't have gave you much, but one thing I know about Mike is that sometimes when Mike is overcome with emotions at the podium, he say some things. Now here's the thing though. I do feel like he might have this inner guard to say anything disrespectful about the Joneses because they gave him another shot when nobody else was apparently. So maybe he'd be guarded. But Mike sometimes lets some things slip there. Steven been answering these questions for 30 years. He's built for it. He just laugh right in your face. Everything good to go. Man, we've been saying that forever, Dro. That's why it makes no sense. And I'm going to read Dro's super chat. This is why this makes no sense.
Super chat.
He said, you would think the fact that Steven can't be fired would incentivize him to make more risk. If we're a draft and develop organization, then we should be more aggressive in the draft. I would say be more aggressive in free agency. I mean, remember we talked about that last year. Like, okay, you do pretty solid in the draft. Here's why I'm not about to sit here and, as the young bucks say, glaze you about the draft. Pause. Because you need to be better because you don't participate. If you were and you're good at the draft. Your team is good at the draft. If you're so good at drafting, then take the risk in free agency. Take the risk. If it doesn't work out, hey man, find me a DeRon Bland in the 5th round. Find me a Dak Prescott in the 4th. It's just my thoughts on it, man. I'd be more aggressive in the other areas because you are so good at drafting. I digress. Let's get to the horn. Let's talk to 478. What it is, what it do. Going once, going twice, 478. Might have got me on mute.
Hey, what's up, guys?
There we go. What's up, man?
There we go. This is Teddy. I hit you up on Twitter sometimes, and I'm usually watching. First time caller.
I appreciate you. Apologies not knowing who you are on Twitter. I'm kind of in and out of Twitter, but appreciate you calling into the show.
Oh, you're good. This is Tedrick. I'm in St. Louis. I'm in the Lou.
Shouts out to the Lou.
One of the things that I think is so hilarious, really watching the formal meetings and the informal meetings, is I'm starting to get this vibe like they're about to just take a linebacker in the first and say, hey, we're fixing our problem. And Gelkin has had an article come out, saying they haven't talked to less agents this year than years in the past. So I'm feeling like they just want to run it back as much as they wanted to. They wanted to bring Quinn back, and obviously that didn't work out. So now they're saying we had enough on offense. We're going to bring back Biadasz. We'll bring back Tyron. We should have enough. Dak and McCarthy do what they do, and we just got to fix the defense. We'll be fine. That's just the vibes I'm starting to feel already as a Cowboys fan. I don't know about you.
Offensively, I do think we will see some. I do think they'll bring back Tyron. I think they're trying to do that. Tyler, I don't know, man. If Tyler Biadasz is coming back on a 1-year cheap deal, maybe I can't see them investing in Tyler Biadasz long term. But where I do think we'll see changes in the backfield. So and I'm not I'm not opposed to the thinking of, hey, let's load up on some defensive talent, whether it's free agency or the draft, and continue to work with the talent we got offensively. I mean, you could argue you should be able to, if you get an adequate running back or backs right in the draft, and you bring back Tyron, and let's say they do bring back Tyler, whatever, you should be able to still be a top offense. It's going to come down to more about the plan of attack, right? Once you get into the postseason. But if you go into the draft and you don't bring back Tyron, you don't bring back Tyler, you don't address any of these positions, You know, I don't know. They move on from Michael Gallup. Some people feel like you still need to take more receivers. Yeah, you could argue, man, hey, maybe we should pay attention on the offense side of the ball. But, you know, I'm not mad at the defense getting a lot of the attention as long as they take care of what they need to do, you know, with the running back spot and Tyron Smith. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm former offensive lineman myself, but I definitely am on the fix the center train. I can't see them
fix the center train for sure.
Fully investing in that. I see them doing something like a 1-year deal and say, hey, we got our guy back. We fixed this. We have a better offense. Look what we did last year. Our guys are going to get better. Tyler Smith will get better.
If they bring back Tyler Biadasz, yeah, I don't think they address center. See, I would address center early and have my guy because for me, for center, I don't think you can play around with just hot potato, right? Like, oh, put you in here. Next guy. Like, get your guy, let him grow with your line, your quarterback, and yet now you got a stout center for years to come, right? Even though Tyler Biadasz wasn't the best center in the world, at least you had a guy that's there, that's reliable, that you don't got to worry about week in, week out of knowing what the hell was going on. You know, what he lacked from a talent standpoint, at least he brought from an IQ and a toughness standpoint. But I don't think you play around with center. Me personally, I'm fixing that. I'm prioritizing that. I know you shouldn't go into the draft cornering yourself, but I mean, there's 3 of them in that first to second round range. I'd like to walk away with one, man.
I'm with you on that. Just like you and the rest of new media have been talking about, hey, if the center's there, I'm taking them. If not, you get one of these receivers that drops or one of these defenders like Latu or something crazy happens. Hey, things can change up. CeeDee Lamb situation, I'm cool with it. I just, based on their history and some of the things that are coming out of what's happening at the Combine, informal, formal meetings, I'm starting to feel like they're going to target that first round like it was like we had Leighton Vander Esch again. So hopefully they prove us wrong and they move forward.
So you'd be mad if they took Edgerrin Cooper?
I wouldn't be mad. I'm just saying from a process standpoint, I still want to get someone free agency. And I'm feeling like they're not going to lean that direction. I'm cool.
But why?
We get players who help us win.
Let me bring some context to this situation real quick. Let me bring some context because this is kind of the, I guess, downside of instant media and instant reactions. The context gets lost. So they're at the Combine. The linebackers and the defensive tackles are performing today. So yesterday they were at the podium. So it's not like they met with a bunch of wide receivers and running backs and defensive or offensive tackles because they aren't available yet, right? So those are the names coming out. So when you see this list of all these linebackers and defensive tackles at the Combine, of course, right, that's going to make news and should your antenna should stand up because Cowboys need these positions. But this has no bearing on free agency. This has no bearing on nothing, but we're at the Combine. We need to know more about these players that we're interested in. So I would caution, making too many conclusions based off of day one of being able to speak with that specific group because that specific group is available is all I'm saying. Today may come out, and it has, Professor Oben dropping all these informal guys that now, exactly, that's informal though, but I'm more so looking at the formal. So now will come out today that there will be more formal meetings, and then instant reactions will be, oh, the Cowboys are good. You look at that tight end again. Well, they're at the Combine. They're going to talk to everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if anyone, Professor O, those guys can find the stats on like percentage of positions that we talk to, that kind of thing, that were formal meetings and stuff in the past. I think that'd be really cool to bring up. But I'll just keep following Nick, and I think Nicole, they're on there, reporting really great. I got to go back and listen to Pat earlier. I missed out on that, but appreciate it. Looking forward to see what they do. Listen to you every day, man. It's been listening to you since 2020, little 2019.
Damn,
you
so
had me hooked since.
You was listening before I was even live like that. I was just dropping these videos and trying to make myself look different so I could stand out. I wanted y'all to listen to what I'm saying, but I felt like I had to grab your attention for how it looked, and it worked, man. So appreciate you.
Hey, man, I'm proud of having someone like you doing your thing, and we need more people who keep it real, don't get sucked in by it, and just, do it for the love of trying to build something new and be a part of it. Proud of you, and congratulations again.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Ted, right?
Yep, Teddy. Yep.
All right, appreciate you, Teddy.
Bye.
What's up, Nick? Let me go over here real quick. Do some refreshing. It's like a lot of informal meetings, not many formal, just quite yet. Anybody got any like formal names that have popped up? Professor O been dropping all the informal. Shouts out to him. Not seeing too many, but I do think it's hilarious that all these informals are tight ends. So you know what that tells me? The tight ends are probably at the podium today. The tight ends are out there walking around or whatnot. So you kind of get these chit chats, right? And I'd err on the side of caution in regards to the informal, because that's, again, can literally walk by, say what's up, especially Lunda Well. Lunda Well is going to talk to all these boys. He's down there. So Lunda going to talk to them, but how many are they meeting with formally? That's really what the situation is. But I'm not going to get too crazy about them meeting all these tight ends. It ain't happening, y'all. If it happens, y'all saw my reaction to Schoolmaker, I'm ending the show. Whatever draft show I'm doing, I don't want to do it no more. If they take a tight end in the top 5 rounds, okay, I won't end it if it's 5th round. But if they take the tight end in the top 2 or 3 rounds, I'm done. I'm at these mother have no clue if they take a tight end in the top 3 rounds. They should have took a tight end last week. Hey, man. You know, I'm just on YouTube. Jake Ferguson showed y'all just needed to. Hey, but you know, we're gonna take the 37-year-old tight end with an injury problem. I'm just on YouTube, bro. Hey, Chris from Alaska. Good morning, Chris.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up,
I have
bro?
a couple. Mike McGilkin. I was just on Twitter, and some college fans are kind of spazzing because they just read Mike McGilkin's thing.
I love it.
Put
I love
out,
that he's a McGilkin now. But yeah, shouts out to Michael Gelkin.
Yeah, I guess I haven't read it yet, or I have to buy the thing to read it. But from what I'm hearing is, I guess there's rumblings of no sign. They're not going to sign Dak, and I think that I understand if you want to put Mike at a lame duck season and just make Zimmer a 1-year thing, but you do that with Dak. He doesn't. He's a free agent. He tests the market. He can't just.
This is what I hate about social media. It's one big giant telephone. I know what you're talking about. He didn't say they're not going to sign Dak, but that's immediately what's going to come out of this whole thing. So he said that there are 1-year deals there potentially could be 1-year deals across the board because of their head coach, just the assistant coaches that were signed, and then Dak Prescott is on a 1-year deal where it's not a guarantee that they will sign him, and obviously they can. Exactly. That's technically true.
If they were smart, they would sign him.
Yeah.
If they were smart, they would sign him. If they're not smart, they're gonna be dumb and not sign him, and then he's gonna leave because he doesn't want to deal with no more bull crap. You know what I mean? He's proven then and
I don't
again
think they're not going to work something out. I mean, again, you heard them talk about it down there at the combine yesterday. I didn't bring it up because to me it's not that noteworthy. I feel like it'll get done. Yeah. All we're doing is going through the same things that we went through with the process before. They went through with Zeke. They went through with Dez. They went through with D-Law. This is. I'm numb to this. This is not newsworthy to me. This is how they operate.
I think it's just sad that Dak has to go through these stupid shenanigans with them. You don't see any other quarterback having their ownership come out trying to throw things out there for negotiations and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
it's just dumb.
Again, I'm numb to
my
it.
Other question,
I wonder if he is too. But this is what the Cowboys do. Usually those players get their way any damn way. So good luck to them.
Yeah, but my other question is, when it comes to the running back position, I was curious. Obviously, I haven't met with anyone yet, but I'm 50-50 on if they were to go get a higher end veteran, and if they wanted to just get a lower tiered running back.
50-50 in the sense of like you 50-50 on wanting them to, or you think they will or won't?
No, like more like when it comes to the front, I'm thinking like maybe like I'm 50-50 on if they would like go for someone like a Saquon or Derrick Henry, or if they'd be more on the lower market and then get a rookie running back.
I think
and have
that's
the
the second
rookie
part.
Get majority of the carries, because there's a couple of guys. Because one thing that could be interesting if they do it, but I don't think it would happen, but still something to think about is what if they draft 2 running backs? Like they don't
Hey,
want
I
to go
brought
with
that up.
route.
I'd do it. I would take a back late day 2,
'Cause I was
early
thinking-
day 3,
I
and
was
then late
thinking-
day 3.
I
I
was
would hell
thinking-
yeah. I mean shit.
I wouldn't mind it because I would like if we got like Braylon Allen and then guy from Tennessee,
Right.
that'd be just like a Zeke type, Tony Pollard type of thing. Obviously, Braylon has a similar running style, but you know what I mean. So,
Hey, I'm not out on that at all, especially given this staff is on a 1-year deal. You need a running back. Y'all know how I feel. Running back should be plug and play. If you ain't plug and play, then you just ain't that good in my opinion. And it's not that difficult to get in there and plug and play, but it's about the how. So I'm actually lower on the percentage of them bringing in one of the big 3. I'm like 10%. I don't think they're going to sign one of those big 3 running backs. They seem to be out on paying any premium money to the position. And at this point now, with the depleted market, premium is going to be anywhere over $7-8 million. Because I think last year, $6 million was the top. So if you go 7, 8, and a couple of these players is looking for 10, 11, 12, Dallas is 100% out of that, as they should be, in my opinion.
Because I think a guy that we could get if we wanted a veteran who is like you can have your opinions if he's on the level of Saquon and Derek or like a little behind is a DeAndre Swift. The Eagles don't resign him. Like I wouldn't mind him if he came here because he wouldn't be that much.
Well,
But,
according to PFF, I think he a little bit more than I thought when I first looked, but he wouldn't be a long-term commitment, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I appreciate you taking my call, bro. Thanks for waking up every morning and doing these shows.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Have a good day.
You too. Yeah, I'm low. I'm low, man. I feel him on the veteran thing, and we didn't do the free agent running back primer because I felt like we kind of did it already. Just it wasn't called that. Remember we had that show where we talked about the big 3, and then we kind of even went into some of the smaller running backs. I just don't feel like they're going to sign a big name running back. Nah, because I don't think you're going to get any of those dudes for $3 million or less, $4 million. I think you're looking upwards of 9, 10. And with some of these teams having a lot of cap, they'll probably, I'll pay Derek or Saquon or Josh Jacobs. I'll pay them $10 million for a year or 2. I don't see Dallas doing that. That's not to say, hey, man, I wouldn't welcome one of these dudes, but I do feel like you fix this how and you get better blocking, man. He just said Braylon Allen, a Bucky Irvin, or the Notre Dame kid, right? The Tennessee kid he talked about. We're going to actually talk about a few of these guys tomorrow with Foots, but yeah, I'm all for it. Bring me in the young buck, get the blocking right, we'd be good to go. All right, got a couple more. Let's go Jimmy Fly Hookem. What's good, Jimmy Fly Hookem?
Man, you know, out here trying to hook something. What's going down, Scott?
What's up, Witch? I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. Just calling in. Man, about this draft situation. Y'all done hitting all the points, man. We really should go to draft for a running back. We know we ain't going to sign no free agent. Remember what happened when Von Miller became available a few years back? All that was like came over, we ain't do shit. Man, even in the interview we just talked about, we just played of dude talking about you can get the most from our money. That don't sound like somebody that's going to go pay players that deserve to be played. It sounds like somebody trying to get some more bodies to fit within that number. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's
so
why
I ain't got no faith in that.
That's why when I do my primer, I have cat boy criteria because these are the players, right? They're trying to get a couple dudes for $15 million. They're not trying to pay for the Danielle Hunters, who he might cost you, but he also going to get you, 80 tackles, 15, 16 sacks, 20 tackles for loss, a bunch of pressures, and just be a dominant force. But they don't want that. They want they want minimal impact for minimal dollars, and if they add up all that impact, maybe it'll equal to that dominant force. And a lot of the times that doesn't work.
I mean, but from a business standpoint, you do got to put that pancake over because there are a lot of teams that are having success with younger players and catching them, at the right time, being able to afford those other odds and ends to kind of make the team whole. So we do have the ability to go out here and get some new players to add to this team.
Sure.
To kind of take us where we need to be and be more efficient with our money. However, you have to know the obvious things and needs that you need in order to go out there and dominate as well, such as a dominant offensive lineman, a linebacker, or a key running back. I just don't think that you're going to really be able to – I mean, you can fill those holes in free agency, but if you look at it from a money standpoint, that's the reason why they're so hell-bent on finding things in the draft or finding players on the cheap, you know, in the free agency, somebody that's coming off an injury or what have you. So, I mean, like you said, the Cowboys going to do what they going to do, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Stephen Jones is going to do Stephen Jones type stuff.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So we really can't be surprised. We can just hope, you know what I mean? You know, and like I said, hey, I'm on record. I'm a Dak critic. I'm a Dak fan, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, what? Man, all these mental games, bro, it's a lot to be dealing with. I wouldn't be surprised if the contract ain't right, Dak out of here anyway.
Yeah,
on his own merit, you know what I'm saying?
That is a conversation that eventually will be had probably if they don't come to terms. If I know his brother talked about, hey man, if I could, I'd tell him to get up out of here for a number of different reasons, and I can't be mad at it if you know. But he wants to be here. He wants to help bring back the glory days here. But yeah, it's a different animal here, and unfortunately, whoever the next quarterback is, they're gonna be dealing with the same things. You know, they'll love you at first. And the organization's not going to be an all-in organization, and if it's not successful, which history shows, even if you got two franchise quarterbacks, it's not going to be. Then they're going to turn on the quarterback, and then that quarterback is going to be either exiled or forced into retirement, depending on the injury situation, and we'll be right back in the same process over and over again because it's not that position that's your issue with this organization, but it's the easiest position to say, hey man, let's swap that out because we can't swap the head, or we can't swap the owners. And so let's blame that position and we'll be good to go. We'll bring in this rookie, or we'll bring in this Kirk Cousins, or we'll bring in this whatever, and everything will be fixed. I find that hard to believe. I'm just hoping we strike lightning in a bottle, whether he's here or he's not. And that sucks as a fan to have to like really hope to just get lucky because you don't have faith in your organization. Not necessarily the players, the organization.
Oh, no, 1,000% agree. I mean, that's been the telltale sign or story, I should say, over the last however many years. The people that's actually responsible for the problem refuse to take responsibility.
Come on.
And say, hey,
no. Say that one more again.
The people that's responsible for the problem refuse to take responsibility. You know, it's like accountability is kryptonite to not just, I ain't gonna get into no life shit, but you know, at the end of the day, people out here just don't want to take responsibility for their own problems, man. And more times than not, shit, we are our own problems. I'm just gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? We can't get out our own way. But and I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna jump off. I gotta leave you with a question though, because you know, Cowboys do some F shit when they really feel like it. All this mental gymnastics they doing, man. Yeah, we need a lineman in the first round and stuff like that. Man, what if these boys pop out and draft a QB in the first 2 rounds? Just what if? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. What if they play some crazy mess? I don't know who. Don't get me wrong. You know, since Brock Purdy made his announcement, arrival in the NFL, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to say it's a reach or anything, but it could
probably
be
will be. Yeah, you know, probably will be. Yeah. I think McCarthy, who's I think the bottom end of the first round dudes, based off of, I don't know if you've heard, but based off of what we're seeing, I think he's going to go before the Cowboys, maybe even Bo Nix if somebody trades up. But and I don't even know if you know who I'm talking about here. But
man, I wouldn't dare draft Bo Nix, man. As the SEC guy, I've watched him too many years, man.
But let me tell you something.
I wouldn't dare.
Why?
Go ahead.
God, you pissing me off right now with Jimmy Fly Hookham. Not at you. I pissed off at you. Just the thought process of this shit happening. Listen to this, Jimmy. Listen to this shit here, bro. Because now I'm sitting here like, yo, why would you trade for Trey Lance and take a first round?
Hey.
Oh my God.
Hey, but let me ask you this though: Have you actually watched Trey Lance highlight reel from North Dakota?
When he was coming out, I don't care about his highlight reel 5 years from now. You know.
I feel you. But hear me out though, man. Hey, the talent's there, man. One thing people do not continue to remember is this guy ain't really playing quarterback
I almost called you Bo Nix. Jimmy, that's a different conversation. That's a whole different conversation. My point is, why would you trade for Trey Lance, former top 5 pick, whatever, and then draft a quarterback in the first round this year?
No argument, no question. I get all of it. But me talking about Jerry and Steven, though, that's the thing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
That love to go do the opposite of what everybody thinks they should do. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said the what if. I know it ain't realistic.
Of all the years to do that, I don't know this is the year, bro. You could argue maybe a few years ago when you had, a top 10 pick or something like that, but boy, man, an all-in year and you take a quarterback in the first round, that's not, and it really,
I would be livid.
I mean, all I can think of is Bo Nix. I mean, other than that, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, and again, we're saying what if he decided to go up and really snatch somebody in the top?
Now that's different, bro. You do now if they trade up, then that's different. If they now.
That's what I'm saying. Go get somebody that with a name. You know what I'm saying? Go do some blockbuster type move that they ain't just expecting. Somebody see it coming type shit. But it ain't gonna happen. I think they'll end up signing Dak, which I want them to do. You know what I'm saying? Build some pieces around him. Let's go get a chip with Dak.
I guess Penix could be another one too. Penix could be another one.
Man, you mean y'all want Moon?
I like Penix. I like Penix as a player for sure. That could be another one that could probably fall down there maybe. But I have this philosophy that wherever a quarterback is at right now in January, February, bump him up an extra slot, because what's going to happen is you get these pro days, you get these camps, you get these guys learning about these guys. You get
the hype train coming.
Yeah, boy, you get that hype train, and next thing you know, Jake Locker is going 8th overall. So just get ready. Get ready, because these quarterbacks, wherever you got them. I'm just saying.
Looking at a Locker right by now. He ain't doing nothing.
What is Jake Locker back on the farm somewhere? Tending to the cows, bro.
But he paid though.
Christian Ponder and Paxton Lynch, and you know what I'm saying? All these dudes get bumped up because it's the quarterback position. So, and I'm not saying that any of these dudes is Christian Ponder or Paxton Lynch. Bro. What I'm saying is somebody gonna be like, hey, these fringe first rounders, the Bo Nixes and the Penixes, we're just gonna take them now. Get 5 years on them and let's roll.
Man, I'm finna get off here, but I gotta say this because you brought it up.
Go ahead.
And it ain't even really a correction. It's just an observation. It's the last day of Black History Month, thanks to the leap year. But think about this, man. A lot of these quarterbacks of a certain makeup and a certain look, they get gifted this lifelong wealth of mediocre skills, and you got talented guys that don't have the same look, or they got the same style. That come draft time, when they hype train, those other guys get the demote train. Some negative start coming out about them. They start dropping. And I think you know what I'm saying without actually saying it.
I think about the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson when you say something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So to me, it's, as much as I love football and all major sports, no question, it's kind of hard for me to be who I am in this world and trying to blind out of certain things as well. You know what I mean? So I see that not only with the drafts of the QBs or just different positions, but people like Cam Newton of the world. Man, Arkansas got here again. Brandon Allen is still on somebody's roster from Arkansas as a backup quarterback. Not hating that man, but he didn't got a ring with he didn't been to the Super Bowl with San Francisco like 2 years in a row. However many years that he been.
Nate Peterman.
So it's like,
I think it's still in the league.
I mean, come on now. You feel me? So it's like, and again, I'm finna jump on because I can get into this a whole other day. But bro, it's a lot going on when it comes to the politics of the game. It is kind of hard to just be a fan, man. With that being said, Dallas Cowboys for life. Man, keep doing your thing, Skywalker. And all these haters, get somewhere and do what you need to do.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. That's Jimmy Fly. Hook 'em. Nate Peterman. And Nate Peterman's on the roster, right? Let me just go double check real quick. Y'all remember who Nate Peterman is, right? This dude has the distinction of throwing 5 interceptions in 1/2 or something like that, or a quarter. He with the Bears. Yeah. It gets weird, man. It gets weird in regards to these veterans and whatnot. The draft, I mean, you know, they always trying to find ways. I call it draft fatigue. This is why I think the draft should be much earlier. But the NFL, right? Money. They turned the combine into this big money draw. And to keep it a bean, what happens on the field in the combine is probably the bottom of what really matters. It's everything else. It's the interviews, it's the backdooring, it's the agents, it's the coaches, it's the general managers. There's things that get done outside of what's on the field. Let's turn it to a money draw. So they're not going to get rid of that or remove it from February. But I think the draft should be much earlier because you tend to do this. All right, now we got to find everything to nitpick at all these prospects, and then certain specific prospects, it gets nitpicked even more. But there are some prospects that are just undeniable. Be a damn fool. Cam Newton coming out. Vic coming out. You'd be a damn fool, right? Some teams, though, they ain't even on their board. Miss Jackie said politics. 513, what it is, what it do?
Hey, what's good, Sky? My name is Marcus out of Cincinnati. I usually call in at Law Nation, so it's my first time calling in for you.
Ah, man, appreciate you calling in, man, out there in Cincy. Probably cold as hell up there right now.
Yeah, man, it's like 30 degrees. It's really weird because like 6 days ago it was like 70. We get that bipolar Midwest weather out here.
Yeah, it was 94 a couple days ago here, and now it's in like the 40s or something now. So yeah, it's really it's global warming, man. I'm just saying, dog, a little weird. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a few questions. The first question is the running back room. So I was kind of thinking and just kind of going through scenarios in my mind, and I was thinking, so what do you think of go ahead and letting Pollard walk, and then we sign one of the free agent running backs, such as Henry, or even try to trade for a Mixon, or try to get an Eckler, and then go ahead and re-sign Rico Dowdle to be our second or third, and then go ahead and draft a rookie running back. I mean, we're loaded on rookie running backs. We have Blake, we got Irving, we got Brooks, we got Wright, we got Benson.
It's a deep class. I'm still shocked that everybody was down on this class, and then when I went and studied the class, I'm like, what are we doing here? I mean, yeah, there might not be that top 10 Bijan Robinson type pick, but there's a whole lot of dudes you can get day 2, day 3. What are we talking about? So your scenario, Henry, Rico, and a rookie. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Now Rico, I'm imagining you re-signing Rico on like a 1-year minimum deal. Me personally, let me go see if I can find you another minimum. Me personally, I would need to go. I gotta go look way down because Rico's gonna be way down, and PFF don't do it the way down. Let me just bear with me, because I look, I get it. Rico fan favorite, but let me see if I can find you a Rico-ish running back real quick. It's way down here. Look, we got AJ Dillon down here. Zach Moss gonna cost you like 3. Ty Johnson out of Buffalo, Marlon Mack, he gets injured a lot. I like Josh Kelly, low key. Josh Kelly out of the Chargers. I'd probably go a different direction. There's a couple dudes in here I like. What's the cat from? I think he played with Chicago. Was drafted by Houston. Might have been drafted by Houston. Played with Houston. There's a couple other dudes though. So I'll give you a Rico style type running back, just not Rico. He get hurt too much. Deontay Foreman, that's the one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then draft one? Yeah, I mean, I live with that for sure. I'd be happy, actually.
Now, if you ideally could pick any of the running backs in this draft, who would it be?
Man, there's a lot I'm high on, man. A lot I like. I'm a huge fan of this Braylon Allen kid. Big kid, strong kid, but I would like to pair them. So I don't know if you heard the show earlier where I said I'd draft 2 running backs, one in the day 2, another one late day 3. The Florida State kid, really like him. Honestly, I feel like I could take him. I'd take him on day 2.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. 6'1", go about 220-ish. Great balance. Shouts out to Foots. We were talking about him the other day. I'm just saying, bro. Benson, Braylon Allen. I I'm not as high on everybody as the right kid out of Tennessee. But again, me not being as high on somebody doesn't mean I wouldn't take them on the squad, because I think there's so many running backs here. If you want another bruiser, the Estime kid, the Notre Dame running back. There's a lot of running backs in this draft, day 2 and 3.
There's a lot
that it'd be hard for me to be like, damn, why would we do that? Bucky Irvin, right? You pair Bucky Irvin with a Braylon Allen later in the draft. Like, come on, man. There's just too many backs to sit here and spend a whole bunch of money on one of these backs when I can go use that money on defensive tackle, on linebacker, on corner if they decide to not bring back. You know what I mean? So, I mean, who's your favorite, I guess?
Great question. So, I definitely like Benson.
Yeah, big fan of Benson, bro.
And I got to say, I also really like...
Would you take the chance? Would you take the chance on Brooks, the ACL?
Brooks. I would actually have to look him up.
Yeah, look him up. Jonathan Brooks. His consensus, not consensus. I should never say consensus, because you ask 10 people, you get 7 different answers. But prior to the injury, a lot of people will have Jonathan Brooks out of Texas as the top guy, but towards ACL. Reports are he'd be ready for camp, but explosive back.
Honestly, I mean, I'm looking and he is ranked number 1 in the rankings. I would honestly, if he is available, I'll have to look at his highlights and his tape a little bit. I would say I would take the chance, just because we're not going to be leaning on him as our primary back, which would give him the space to be able to recover fully and integrate into the lineup.
See, problem is you probably have to take him a little earlier. And you know what's crazy, though? Here's what's crazy.
I don't think so.
The Cowboys doctor did his surgery, Dr. Cooper.
Oh, wow.
And y'all know how the Cowboys love to take that second-round pick and use it as an experimental pick or whatever, right? Risk pick, whatever you want to call it. We're going to roll the dice on this pick. Boy, he is screaming second round written all over him to the Cowboys. Just is screaming it.
Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at it. I really wouldn't be. I wouldn't be mad at that pick. I also
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd be mad. I'd be concerned. Is he going to have the same ability less than a year removed from an ACL injury? So then I would say, okay, if you're going to take this kid, who are you complimenting him with? Because he can't be the guy you're leaning on. Not year 1. That would be my. Yeah. So what is happening next? Are we going into round 6, and we're taking another back? We're taking the Frank Gore Jr. Even though he's smaller, but who are we taking now? You know what I mean? In round 6, or who did we sign?
Mm-hmm.
Did we sign A.J. Dillon or somebody? You know?
Yeah, I was also looking at Ray Davis and Will Shipley as well.
Not familiar with those 2 guys yet, so I would have to take a look at them.
Yeah, Ray Davis out of Kentucky, and then Will Shipley is out of Clemson. They're around.
Yeah, give me their profile.
Ray Davis
give me their profile.
5'8", 220, and then Shipley is 5'11", 210.
5'8", 2. That's a rock. He rocked up. So Blake Corum. So you'd be a fan of Blake Corum then, because that's kind of Blake Corum's a 5'8". Just a bowling ball.
Yeah, 5'8", 205. I wouldn't be mad at him either if we got him on our team.
Yeah. All right, man.
I mean, we're just loaded on potential backs. I mean, I feel like we could really snag 1 or 2 if we really wanted to.
I'm 100%. In closing,
my next question to you is
final question.
What do we look at here with our wide receiver group? I mean, we have CD, we have potentially Cooks, and Cooks is kind of like,
what do you mean
I
potentially?
don't know, he's kind of inconsistent in this system.
What do you mean?
And then after that, it's kind of...
You saying like Cooks is not going to be here?
I'm not sure. Is he for sure coming back?
Oh yeah, he's under contract.
Okay, he has 1 more year.
Yeah. So you got CD, you got Cooks.
Cool. So we got CD, we got Cooks, but then after that, what do we really have?
Well, you got Jalen Tolbert, Kamate Turpin, and then Jonathan Brooks. Those, I mean, technically Gallup for now, but I'm moving on from Gallup.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's just like I feel like we really need to try to get ourselves a solid number 3, because the options became limited throughout the season, I feel like. And Cooks really, he had some good games, but it was rather inconsistent for the most part, I feel like.
I think he was very consistent in the second half. I think those first 4 to 6 games, they were trying to figure it out. But if you go look at his back half of the year, Cooks was arguably your second, man, he might be arguably your most clutch receiver. I'm not sure if you remember. But he was constantly just coming up with huge catches, starting with that Chargers game. So I'd be happy to obviously have Cooks back. Jalen Tolbert took a huge step. I'm very confident in Jalen Tolbert being a guy for you, be a part of the rotation. I like Jonathan Brooks, but I'm not about to count on Jonathan Brooks. You include Turpin more in this damn offense from a receiver you've got enough weapons to get this thing done. Let's not do that. Do you want more? I always want more. You be greedy. You get more weapons. Get another guy, especially to build for the future. But if you told me we rolled out there with that, to me, it's not about the guys. It's about the how. I'm sorry. I've seen teams with way worse offenses get the thing done. So, yes, I would love to get another receiver, especially in this draft, which is extremely deep. But I don't feel like you need to prioritize it over other positions if you get to that point. Free agency hasn't happened yet, so maybe you get to a point where you could be BPA and the receiver falls and it's your guy. But right now, you got way other more pressing needs than wide receiver.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. All right, brother. I'll go ahead and let you go. Thank you for having me on.
Indeed. Good stuff there. Yeah, we kind of had this talk with on Vach's show. Well, Vach and Foots was going back and forth about it. We'll talk about a few receivers tomorrow too in this draft. If one happens to fall, if a CeeDee Lamb situation happens to fall or whatever, yeah, you have to entertain the possibility. But you 100% have enough to put out a top offense, and you have. Again, it's. I don't really think it's about the guys right now. You do need to look towards the future, though. Cooks is not going to be here long term. He got one more year. I'm not counting on Brooks, although I like Jalen Brooks. I'm not counting on Brooks. Tolbert's different, though. I feel like there's something there. There's something with Jalen Tolbert to at least be your wide receiver 3. But you could be arguing that we need a wide receiver 2 of the future, and you don't have that right now. Will a young buck like a Coleman come in here? Brian Thomas Jr., can they come in here right away? That's my question I have, is that right away, in a year of right now, are they going to come in here and get down the position in the offense and the chemistry right now to be a factor? I don't know. Whereas I feel like I feel much better about a different position being a year one immediate impact. The talent's there for these guys, but as I've said many times, it ain't just about talent. Not just about talent, man. And I don't know these dudes from neck up. I don't. So all I can do is question that position in general. And I know that position is just not a plug and play. You automatically like that. There's the Jamar Chases of the world, but we ain't talking about that. We ain't talking about Neighbors and Dunze and Marvin Harrison. We ain't talking about them. That's different. So wide receiver position for me is, what do you do in free agency? Are you sitting comfortably in the draft to say, hey, man, we took care of what we need to take care of. If one of these dudes fall to us and we like it, take them. Last call here. Got to go back to our guy. It's Bandar, right? Not Bender. Bandar.
Bender, yes, Kai, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing on this fine evening, right?
Sorry. Yeah, it's evening, 7 p.m. now. 7:30, I think. I called, I waited for you because you have a great show last time, and yesterday I think you were. I want to thank you and Watch for taking my question. It was, I know it was a weird question.
Good question.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it was a good question, is what I'm saying. So it wasn't weird. It was a good one.
Yeah, because I think I wasn't honestly following you during the Connor Williams era, so I'm not sure. I wasn't sure about him.
You weren't following. That's right.
Yeah. but now I know better. So Conor, to me, it's maybe his product of the scheme, like Watch said. But I like the way Watch thinking. He's taken under the undervalued Moneyball concept, which you get someone strong and has some traits, and you play him at center. I really like this concept because it's underutilized in the NFL, I think.
Pull up your question real quick. I mean, if you don't mind, I want to pull up your question for the viewers. Maybe we can discuss it. 1 second, man. I'm going to pull you up over here. So his question, for those who may have missed Voss and Barty Live show, and you know, why are you missing the show? His question was, JPJ, according to most mocks, are going by 24. Should we sign Connor Williams? He's a guard who learned to play center like you always wanted and talked about the highest rated center in PFF for what it's worth, or we take a guard and teach him to play center. And what Bandar is talking about is, you know, we were discussing Connor Williams' time in Dallas, where one of our problems with Connor Williams, as you guys can attest to this, is that he doesn't have the anchor. And he did gain some weight and probably some strength, but he did that here in Dallas and still was getting, you know, mugged. Why I think, Bandar, why his PFF grade is extremely high in Miami is because he is an athlete. That was one of the things he was praised for coming out, and he was a great athlete. Here, he always got to the second level, no problem. And Mike McDaniels is notorious for his zone scheme, getting his linemen on the move, getting to the second level and hooking guys. And he can do that at a high rate. So he's kind of like the perfect athlete for that scheme.
Yeah, so he excels on their scheme. That's
right.
That's what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's more a product of the scheme than his ability. He has some ability, of course.
I mean, yeah, I think so.
I have some statement because I don't want to take you long because I know we're closing the show. My first statement is about our country in general. But people, your chat is very funny. I was dying laughing about the guys are very funny actually. Toxic Tom and the guys in the chat are very funny. But honestly, I think they think we are. I work in risk management and telecommunication. I'm middle class, mostly like America. I think they think the people who are richer, people in Qatar and Emirat, Dubai, you know, these are the people who have the high income. We have people with high income here, but mostly in Qatar and Emirat. But people think about that, people having tigers and falcons and stuff like. We have people like this here, but we are. Trust me, Sky. We are normal people. We watch Breaking Bad. We watch Chappelle Show. We are normal people, just like you.
So basically, y'all not out here with pet lions and pet cheetahs. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. I have another because I don't want to take long. About the linebacker, about the
hold on. Before you move on, Bandar, do you have a pet?
Okay, go ahead. No. My brother have cats like this.
Does he have a
pet,
regular cat, or does he got a big cat?
No, regular cat.
Okay, because we see the same videos you see, you know, on these social medias, and do you have any friends?
Trust me, who normal people like us have the same reaction. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Why?
So it's not like not a normal occurrence over there. You walking down the street and your neighbor is just chilling with a a cheetah, a leopard or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Okay.
Right. Let me give you an example. Do you think people in Saudi Arabia think you know the movie Hangover? When Mike Tyson had the tiger, you think people in Saudi Arabia think people in America like that? Of course not. It's nonsensical.
But hey, them rich people over here got them tigers though, dog. Like that's the thing. You know what I'm saying?
And one more nugget before we get back to football, Scott, because you will like this. I swear I'm not because I was nervous the last time I didn't tell you, but I swear my late grandmother, and my grandfather, they used to watch wrestling. And her favorite wrestler was a guy named, I think you know him, maybe his name is Snuka. He used to fight barefoot, Snuka, and the guy with the snake.
Jimmy Fly Snuka.
But I don't.
And Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah. These are her favorite. She used to say, if you don't sleep, I will bring you a snake.
So it wasn't the Iron Sheik.
I swear, No. That's it. But this is This is in
That's my
our
last
culture.
one. That's my
Level
last one.
wrestling, and bless her soul. And the thing about the combine, I'm not buying that they can interview 100 linebacker. I will not buy it until they actually be serious about linebacker and the tackle position, the nose tackle position. I'm not buying it until they address it. I remember your reaction last year when they took Schoonmaker. Your reaction, you and Watch, and I think they have the same reaction about linebacker. I don't believe they think the value is good for linebacker in the first round. So I don't think they will take linebacker in the first round. I'm cool with it. Okay, I'm cool with it, but I will not believe they will be serious about linebacker until they address it, because the last year it was a joke. I mean, I remember the guy you put not Brian Brothers, the other guy, Baldy, who was talking about Marquise Bill playing. It was a joke. We couldn't fix it. We don't have any linebacker, and we know about LTV, Leighton Vander Esch. He is what he is. I mean, he has his limitations. So this is my take about linebacker. I have other take about your last show. Also, you took some guy. I swear I was gonna send Sky gonna talk about the guy in Miami, Pankinko. He is very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, because this guy is actually, like you said, bargain shopping. This is the Cowboy range. Let's be realistic. We're not going to get Chris Jones. I wish we get Chris Jones, but that's not going to happen. This guy is so good. I watch him, Sky. I watch a lot of Miami's game. He is really so good. He is really good, and I like him a lot. And he can play somewhat linebacker, somewhat, not always, but he is really good. He's very undervalued, and I think that was great. One last thing, Sky. I want to first. Two last thing. I'm sorry. I'm nervous. Two last thing about I was worried about the chat, about me talking about me and stuff like that, making the joke. I can take a joke, no issue.
Oh yeah, we have some fun. We just have some fun, you know.
Yeah. But your equal opportunity. I thought it was about me. Then I saw not yesterday, the day before show when Coach McCoffey. You have to get Coach McCoffey.
Coach McCoffey's crazy. Coach McCoffey and Kevin Moore is crazy. Hey man, dog, they be messing up names too, man. Somebody called Michael. They called him Michael McGelkin today, and his name is Michael Gelkin. So I mess up names too.
Come on, you boring guys also. You're boring guys. You're saying you got to get Coach McCarthy. So, come on, I was dying. You said that.
I gotta play into it, man. We gotta lead into it a little bit, man. Dog, come on now.
I got the Clarence Hill laugh. By the way, the last thing I want to congratulate.
Hey, my man, you got the Saudi Clarence Hill laugh. Come on. All right, in closing, man. My bad. Let me stop it.
In closing. Two things. I want to congratulate you and Michelle. I hope you.
Thank you.
Inshallah, baby will be good, and everything will be good. And one last thing, I think, remember that skit for Chappelle? No, sorry, not skit. I want to talk about Robert Quinn. Remember Robert Quinn when we got him from Miami? I think he has the same money range that Giovanni Clowney. I think it will be good. I think your Clowney, the guy is named Clowney, right? The one in the Ravens, right?
Yes, yeah. Clowney's he was kind of the high end of the Catboy criteria. Yeah.
Good option, but I don't think he has career here. I don't think he will take 1 year after this. I don't think his agent will encourage him to take one other month. Yeah, because he had a career here. We were waiting since he got drafted. We were waiting for him to break out. He finally break out. I don't think he will take a back out. I think he will get paid this season. And one last thing, I think someday in the draft room, maybe Will McClay will go. Remember the skit for Chappelle Show when keeping it real goes wrong. I think if they take linebacker this year, I feel Will McClay, not linebacker, they will take tight end this year. I think Will McClay will go crazy. I don't think, even if the linebacker they're talking about go to 24, I will not take linebacker in the first, not linebacker, tight end in the first round ever. I just don't think it's a good value.
If they take a damn tight end at all, I'm gonna go buy me a goddamn tiger myself, and I'm letting it loose at the Star immediately, Bandar. At the Star, attack.
No.
Matter of fact, let me find some Stephen Jones, clothing. Sniff this and go get. Okay, because there's no way, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and try to sugarcoat it to none of y'all if we take a tight end in this draft.
No, tight end the first round. We took a tight end. He's supposed to be a good blocker. He couldn't block anybody.
He wasn't a
He's
great
not
blocker.
perfect.
Yeah, so.
The same with Mazi. Mazi's story need another call. Mazi's story needs another call. He's supposed to stop the run. He couldn't stop anybody. Let's see. Maybe Mike Zimmer can fix it.
He stopped eating.
Okay.
And that's the problem. We got to give him eat some more.
But you said there is some other issue behind the scene we don't know about it. Hopefully everything will be fine. He will be fine. I appreciate your call. I appreciate the shout, guys. Sorry I took too long.
Never apologize.
Thank you.
Great
I will
call.
always support you. I will always support you and Batch and Jeff Kavanaugh and Dave. I hope you, Batch said you will do a show. I hope you do it, guys.
Yeah,
and we need a round table, please. We need a round table before the draft. Or after the draft.
That's
Thank
fair,
you,
B.
guys.
That's fair. Appreciate you. That's Bandar, y'all, all the way from Saudi Arabia. Can we please get some flames in the chat, man? I mean, this thing, what? Just a great call. It's 2 for 2. He said, man, we just regular people over here. We watch Breaking Bad too. Not walking around here with lions and tigers and cheetahs. I feel you, Bandar. I'm glad he explained because I ain't gonna hold you, I thought it was normal. Yeah, I did. Say, hey, man, we surprised too. Good stuff, man. He knows stuff too. He brought up Andrew Van Ginkel. I better stop sleeping on Bandar. I should have asked him that. Wifey said, do they watch Yellowstone? So we're in our Yellowstone era right now. That's what the young bucks say now, right? We're in our Yellowstone. We're in our Yellowstone era right now, man. So when y'all see me come on here with my Stetson, don't ask no questions, all right? Don't ask no questions. I just purchased a little ranch out back for the wife. You know what I'm saying? Built they call it a bunk house. Built a little bunk house for my kids to go work in. Mow that grass. Yeah. Just saying. I mean, about to be in my Yellowstone era. Jay said it's go. We hooked, man. We hooked on it right now. We hooked on the Yellowstone, man, and we professional bingers. Yellowstone's a show. I've got my all-time favorites, and we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Somebody spoiled it for me though on Twitter. They said it's cut off at season 5. Apparently something happened with Costner and them. I'm like, damn, man, why you going? So we'll see. Ranch dressing. Yeah, in 1883 and 1923, wifey said those were spinoffs, so we'll probably check them out too. Probably check them out too. Fun show today. Let me get to these super chats though before we get out of here. I didn't even realize we're almost at 11 o'clock. I started on time today. All right, we had 29, last day of Black History Month.
Super chat.
And I already read Dro, but I'll get back to it in a second. Knight 405 dropped 2 and said, wide receiver better be able to block like Hines Ward. That is fair. That is fair, Knight. One thing about this group, when you go watch, you could argue, Cooks come on, man. Cooks like 5'10", and then Hines Ward was short too, but that ain't Cooks' forte. CD Lamb, fantastic receiver, but I wouldn't go out on a limb and say this is a guy that's down in, down out, getting busy in the blocking department. Tolbert gives you the effort, for sure. I don't ever question his effort. Gallup kind of ended up being your blocking type guy. But yeah, I don't know that I would say this group has that Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, y'all going to block, because it is so essential. And a lot of the times, and I think I might have said this before on one of our Tape Tuesdays, a lot of the times these big runs that are sprung are because of your your wide receivers blocking downfield. I want to say in the preseason, Simi Fehoko. Now, if Simi had stayed here, Simi would have been, I think, one of your better ones. He's a big body. Simi Fehoko we sprung somebody on a long run in preseason. That's a good point, though. I don't think we got blocking wide receivers like that. Anquan Bolden's a good one. Mark said he's not a Costner fan. Let me say something about this, because my wife doesn't really know Kevin Costner like that. So as I'm watching this show, I'm always like, I'm just surprised at this role for him. You know, I've seen a handful of movies from Kevin Costner, a good bit, right? This one just seems just different. He's like the anti-hero / villain, and just the way he plays it, it's like Kevin Costner. But I'm like, this ain't Bodyguard, Rookie. You know, this ain't The Draft, right? This ain't that. It's interesting to get used to. Is all. Interesting to get used to. Tricks just dropped 2.
Super chat.
Said Drew McIntyre is winning Hater of the Year. He's killing it on social media, by the way. Killing it. Good stuff today, man. That's right. Last year, Toxic said the Cowboys schedule release thing was kind of Yellowstone themed, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, right. But see, I wasn't watching at the time. I kept hearing about it, but I wasn't watching. Now we watching, so I'll keep y'all up to date on it. With that said, man, make sure if you enjoyed today's show, on the way out, you do hit the like button. It is our, as Voch would say, virtual currency. Appreciate the actual currency sent via here, and if any were sent via PayPal or Cash App, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mo will be on later tonight for his final show of the week, and then I'm back tomorrow. Me and Foots, if everything goes well, which it should, we're going to be discussing, I think the linebackers work out today and defensive tackles. We'll be discussing a particular linebacker with Foots, and then we're going to talk about a few other positions that he has his eye on. Players, actually, specific players he has his eye on down here at Combine. The Combine is officially really underway today. Let me get it for y'all. Let me not just tell y'all a bunch of stuff here, but I do know the offensive line is Sunday. Hold up. So we got defensive linemen, linebackers today, DBs, tight ends tomorrow, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs Saturday, offensive linemen Sunday. So when we come back on Monday, we'll be talking about Combine standouts probably. All right. With that said, appreciate y'all. Fantastic calls today. Good stuff in the chat. Y'all are truly the best, man. Rocking every morning during this period. Can't thank y'all enough.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
I got you. My grandpa was big on the Westerns, man. I used to come home and he'd have the Westerns on. Used to think he was a black cowboy watching all the Westerns. All right, we out of here. Love y'all. Peace.
Squad!